from the word problem, what's the key piece of information? There's a couple of pieces, but where's the one that we're going to use to initially build our first ratio? Go ahead, Andrew.
2 hours and
What am I going to do with that? Sal?
put it in the, I'll put it in the, two, areas on this one.
Which row? Okay. What was the confusing part about that? If you read further, it says 1 hour after that, meaning after the second hour, now at 3 hours, you have 36 views. And then really what this one is here is really the value of the ratio, which is what? And then you could either use additive structure, counting by ones, and then counting by 12s, or the multiplicative structure from left to right is times 12. You'll wind up with 48, 60, and 72. Many of you had. You did a good job with it. Not in this class, but I saw some different values for this first column. I saw, instead of 12 here, I saw 24. I saw 36. And I even saw some in not this class, but in previous classes, put 6 here. But it should be 1 to 12 as our given, or our value. Multiplicative structure is times 12. And then how good are we at writing equations? I'm hoping, judging by your exit tickets from when I was absent, it seems like you're getting it. To calculate views, what times what? Julia. Every time you come up with something, just double check in your mind and make sure it works. If I'm trying to figure out views, H1 times 12 is 12. It looks like it's going to work. Always test it with one other set of ratios. 3 for H times 12 is 36, so it will work. What if you have to calculate hours? What times what? Or you can actually use division here too if you're more comfortable with it. Let's see if it works. V times 72. H equals this times 72. Can't be, right? Always check it. Kristen Sheridan. 1/12. Or if you're not familiar or not comfortable with fractions, it's the same as V divided by 12. Let's just test it to make sure it works. To figure out H, 12 divided by 12 is 1. 24 divided by 12 is 2. The equation is good. Lesson 15 is all about strategies. We're going to take all the strategies that we've learned up to this point, and we're going to see which one works best. It really comes down to what works best for you. What do you like the best? So if you flip the page, we're going to take the values that we did in the ratio table, and we're going to plot the points on a coordinate plane. What were the values again? Could somebody read them off for me? Yeah, I will. Yup. I'm going to go to full screen here so we have everything we can see. Okay, this is my y-axis and this is my x-axis. What set of values goes on x? The hours or the views? No. Yep. And then views becomes my y values. So let's do that. What should we call this data coordinate plane? What's a good title? What's it trying to show? Liam. Number of website viewers is fine. And it's really, it's website views, but that's okay. How many hours do we have to put on here? L. Here's where you have to make a decision, which I haven't taught you yet. If I count every box as one, it's a little scrunched, isn't it? If I want to be able to fill up as many of the boxes as I can. So I don't want to count every box as 1 hour. What should I count by? Give me a number. Don't do it yet. Let's just say. That would make this the first hour, second hour, third hour, 4, 5, and 6. I'm still a little scrunched. Antonio. Let's check. 1 hour. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 hours. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 hours. I'm going to run out of room. John. 1, 2, 1 hour. 1, 2, 2 hours. 1, 2, 3 hours. 1, 2, 4 hours, right? 1, 2, yep. 5 hours. That's going to work. Can't do every fourth box, you run out of room. Every third box is spread out enough that it'll work. And then once you've established that, you could do the same thing going up. What's that first one going to be going up? Jewel. Yep. And just be careful, make sure it's every third box going up. So if you don't count right, the lines won't line up the line won't line up. Everything looks good. Do you know how to plot your points? Okay, I'm gonna let you do that, and I'll start calling up a couple people for ball archer, and then we'll come back here. Notice when I connect the dots, it starts at 0 and it goes all the way through the last point and continues upward, because you can use the coordinate plane to figure out other ratios that are not on your ratio table. It's one of the benefits of it. Back to recording. One of the benefits of the coordinate plane is you could figure out other equivalent ratios that are not on the ratio table. But it requires a little bit of thinking. Are you ready for your first question? If you can't get it, don't worry. If you can get it, I might have to ask you to explain it. How many views were there after 2 hours and 20 minutes? Ignore it. All right, Jasmine, I'm going to give you first crack.
28.
Anybody think 28? How'd you do it? You are right. How'd you do it? Here, you want to come up and explain it? I'll wire you up. Just click it anywhere you want to click it. Or you can hold it too. That's fine.
There's 3 boxes, so I divided that by 30 and by 20.
Okay.
So then, by 30, I think. And then, so I realized the 20 would be there, and then I went.
Trace it up. Yeah, trace it up and show where that goes. the line that she's tracing is 2 hours. Every box is in between is 20 minutes. So this is 2 hours. Step aside for just a sec so the class can see. 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours and 40 minutes, 3 hours. 2 hours and 20 minutes, she traces up and now trace across. And then you got to figure out what the each box counts by. Each box counts by, where are you going?
Oh,
You're not done.
By 4.
Each box counts by 4. That would make this 28. This one's 32. This one's 36. So like I said, it requires a little bit of thinking. I owe you a ticket. I'll get you at the end, okay? Got one more for you. Ready, guys? How many hours would it take for 68 views? How many hours for 68 views?
How many minutes?
68.
Oh, wait.
Tristan.
5 hours and 40 minutes.
Close, but no. Steven.
5 hours and 22 minutes.
No. Julia?
5 hours and 40 minutes.
5 hours and 40 minutes is right. Look, here's, again, we're counting by 4s. That's 64. That's 68. Trace across. It intersects here. We now trace down. 5 hours and 20 minutes. It's 5 hours and 40 minutes. Okay? I owe you a ticket. I'll get you at the end. All right, let's go on to the next page. This ratio table is exactly the one that you had on the previous page. There's nothing new here. But now they're going to ask you a question based on that ratio or that ratio relationship. Using the same ratio table from the exploratory challenge, that's what we just did. Predict how many views the website will have after 12 hours. This only goes up to 6 hours. Now, I know you know the answer. But what lesson 15 shows you is every strategy that we've done can be used to answer this question. You may already have it in your head. That's fine. I just want to show you how it applies to every strategy that we've done. Strategy 1 is a tape diagram. We could figure it out with a tape diagram. What was the value of our ratio? Jules? So, hours to views was a 1 by 12. Let's draw it out. Make sure you count your boxes correctly. And that was 1 hour, 12 views, right? Label everything appropriately. Okay. So now look. This is 1 hour, 12 views. Now they're asking 12 hours. So what number should I put in every box at this point? Steven, let's do it. There's 12 hours. Every box gets a value of 12. But 72 times 12 is not our answer. Just watch. Let's go through it. So now what do I have to do to figure out total views? Sal?
12 times 12, which is 12.
What do you get, bud? 144 views. That's using tape diagrams, which may or may not be your thing. Let's do it another way. The ratio table. You were already given the first 6 hours, so let's extend the ratio table and do hours 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, which is what we're trying to find.
The way I did it was I did 72 plus 72.
You doubled it. You did actually a rainbow is what you did. Yep.
Yeah, that's easier.
Well, I'll show it to you also. If I extend the ratio table, how many views are at 7 hours? You may have to look back to see what we're counting by. The last one ended at 72, so at 7 hours, how many views? Kind of want to see more hands, because even though you may not like this way, I kind of need to know that you at least know how to do it. Okay, well, just adding 12 to 72. 84 plus 12. Al, what about at 9 hours? Kristen. What about at 10 hours? Franco. 11 hours.
32.
12 hours, the one we want. 144. That's a strategy. One that's not listed that Steve Salerno did. He did rainbows. You had at 6 hours, how many views? Going back to your data table.
72.
At 12 hours, he realized that he can multiply this by 2. And then if you multiply the bottom by 2, you get it that way also. 144. The strategy is not even listed on here, and he figured it out. Then, the last one that we did, second to last one, is an equation. To figure out views, it's what times what? What was the equation for views? Liam? Hours times 12. So then we substitute the hours that they give you. You're trying to figure out how many views at how many hours? And then there's also coordinate plane if you wanted to do it. Now, I'm just curious. I want to know what you like the best. How many like the tape diagram best? 3.5. Ratio table. About 9. Equation. And we didn't do coordinate plane, but how many like the coordinate plane? You want to know what method's the best? The one that works best for you. It's okay, but you have to show it one way. Okay, here comes the homework. You ready? I want you guys, listen. I want to make this perfectly clear because it's a little confusing what needs to be done tonight. Go to the very next page, which is page 7, okay? You're going to do A, circle it if you want to make a little note, homework, and you're going to do B. We're still not done yet. Then, ready? Read this, and what they're going to add, let you get caught up, because this is where there can be some confusion. I'll read this out loud to you. It says, determine how many tablespoons of water would be needed if the chef is making a large batch of pasta and the recipe increases to 36 eggs. It's still based on this table. Support your reasoning using at least one other strategy. Liam, do me a favor to close that door for a minute. So let me make this clear. You've got to try to figure out how much water is needed for 36 eggs, and the only requirement is you pick one strategy. If you go to the next pages, there's room for any strategy that you choose. If you like tape diagram, then you'll have this filled out with tape diagram and nothing else. You skip the other parts. If you're going to do ratio table, then you would do ratio table here and everything else gets left blank. If you're going to do coordinate plane, there's a page for that. Finally, there's also, where is it? Equation, where is it? Equation. I must tell you this though. The equation for this particular question is not an easy one. Okay? So you pick one and show one method. You don't have to do all four. And do not do the problem set.
Oh, Mr. Lessons.
Okay? If I owe you a ticket, you come up. If anybody borrowed a pencil, return it and erase your name.